Hello friends, Sally the Seeker here. Hope everyone's doing well. I decided we were just going to continue on with this same day's trial because Brooks is in such a pissy mood. He's only going to act more stupid and provide more annoying antics for us. So I figured let's check it out. And plus, the next people that are coming up are, let's see, I think the first one is Chris Johnson, and he's chief of Crime Response Unit from the Wisconsin State Lab. And Trevor, I think he pronounced his name Naleid. He's the DNA analyst from the Wisconsin Department of Justice. So let's face it, we know that's going to be pretty interesting. So they just got back from their break or lunch or whatever, so I figure he's probably going to have something to say, you know. Well, he always has something to say, but something super annoying. So let's without further ado, let's check in and see what's happening.
Do you want to talk scheduling?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Go ahead.
And thank you for a little extra time here. I spoke with the defendant about his witnesses for tomorrow, and I believe he's filling out the paper that I asked him to so we can get his witnesses here. I can tell the court this. I have 2 crime lab analysts to testify yet this afternoon. They're both here. One's the next one is from the Milwaukee lab. The second one's from the Madison lab. So if we could.
Was that Brooks? Did he just go, ah? What was ah about? Oh my God, he's already starting in. Did y'all hear that? It was like a ah. And I recognize that lady. Let's see. Right there behind Zach. I think she's a journalist or something. I've seen her laugh at Brooks before. I don't think she's laughing with him. I think she's definitely laughing at him. Anyhow, let's see. Sorry, that was a weird noise. I was like, ah. Who knows? Sorry, I'm just trying to get this adjusted. Okay, here we go.
Complete their testimony today. It will be greatly appreciated. I don't know how late you intend to go today or how long it will take, but I'm being optimistic. Our final witness would be a recall of Detective Casey briefly for some follow-up matters.
Sorry, guys.
And then we would be in a position to rest. I don't hold out hope that we'll probably be able to rest yet this evening, but maybe, depending on how late you go and how smooth things move along.
Yeah, smooth.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that information, and I appreciate the parties discussing off the record some of the issues related to the defense witnesses, so that's great to hear. I can go a little bit later tonight, and I would say no later than 6, but if need be, if we can get through those 2 witnesses and Detective Casey, that would be great. But let's see how we go.
Okay, thank you.
All right, sir, did you have anything?
Yes, I do. Detective Casey already testified. What would be the significance of him testifying again?
Well, let's take that up later. I want to deal with the lab analysts who are here first and not delay their testimony any further.
Yeah.
So, other than that issue, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I thought he was released from his subpoena.
She said we're going to discuss it later. Why can't you just respect that and move on?
I honestly don't recall whether that question was asked of me. I know he's the court officer and he's been here. I'd have to take a look at the record from when he testified and see if there was any reservation or have the state make an offer of proof and we can go from there, but I'm not going to do that right now. I want to have those lab analysts testify. They're here, and we can take up more fully the issue with Detective Casey after they're done testifying.
So how late do we plan on going?
I will go as late as 6 o'clock if need be. So I want to keep pushing along. I want to...
Oh my God.
Definitely pushing it here.
That's not that late, sir. We've stayed till 5:36. Previously, there were times during jury selection we stayed till probably 7 or 7:30. The last two nights we did break at about 4:30, 4:45, and so I'm willing to go a little bit later tonight. So it's 3:30 now. We'll see how things go.
I was making that saying that on the record because in my position that is kind of late.
Oh my gosh. What, do you expect them to work around your schedule? What pressing things do you have to do? That is just insanity at its best. He's going to oh my God, he's going to complain about how long they have to stay as if he's so put out. What, does he think he's staying at the Hilton or something? Wow, his how do I say it? He puts a very high value on his own self-importance. You know, wow. Wow, Mama Dawn, you really didn't do much, did you? I don't think so.
Well, let's start now and we'll get going, and maybe we don't have to go that late. So bring the jury out.
Yeah, if you don't argue.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
Hell no.
The written decision that I previously entered is what I will stand on. I'm not going to
Grubby
address
lady
it any
fingers
further.
hand down.
Is that verified proof?
Sir, my written decision is the decision on
Is it-
subject matter
Is it
jurisdiction.
verified proof? Because it hasn't been proven on the record, and that was not verified proof.
You know, idiot, if you quit yapping, you might get back on time and not worry about if this court lasts until 6. But you know what? You're not gonna. You're gonna keep on saying what you're gonna say. Okay, man, it's amazing how he can irritate me with just seconds of listening to him and looking at him.
It has
I
yet to
am
be proven.
denying the request by the defendant to verify subject matter jurisdiction.
It
That's
has to
denied.
be proven for the record.
No, it
I
doesn't.
disagree with you as a matter of law. The
Show
jury's
me-
coming
show me
out.
Lawful law.
All rise for the jury.
Show me by lawful law. Unless you make an tacit agreement, but you don't have to prove subject matter jurisdiction.
You shouldn't have to prove anything
All
to
right,
tack an
welcome back,
agreement or
ladies and
not.
gentlemen of the jury. It's about 3:37. I know you're all filing in, so I'll wait till you all get in.
Not yet.
And welcome back to the rest of you who are filing in after our short afternoon break. I just wanted to let everyone know I have let the parties know if need be. I'm willing to stay between 5:30 and 6 this evening. I know there's 2 witnesses for sure. The state intends to call, and I intend to get through. It's kind of the timing and whether there's a 3rd witness tonight or not. I'll decide a little bit later. But at this point, the state may call its next witness, and the rest of you may be seated, of course.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Chris Johnson.
All right, Mr. Johnson, if you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is on my right. It is up a riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record, and then spell each.
My name is Chris, C-H-R-I-S, Johnson, J-O-H-N-S-O-N.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
How are you employed, sir?
I'm employed as the Chief of the Office of Crime Scene Response for the Division of Forensic Sciences, Wisconsin State Crime Laboratories.
What is your educational background and training briefly?
I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in molecular biology from Marquette University. I started my career approximately 16 years ago in the DNA analysis unit as a forensic scientist. As a forensic scientist, I went through an extensive training program to be a DNA analyst, and I've carried many positions since then.
And as chief of the crime response unit, what are your duties and responsibilities?
My duties are twofold. I have an administrative aspect and a technical aspect. The administrative aspect is to oversee and monitor all operations or all aspects of the crime scene response program operations. My technical aspects come into play when I receive calls from law enforcement to respond to scenes to provide technical assistance. My primary duty as the technical aspect is to preserve the integrity of the evidence at crime scenes. This is done through proper examination, recognition, documentation, and collection of physical items of evidence. Furthermore, another technical aspect I have is to write confidential reports of findings, and this basically summarizes any examinations and processing techniques that are used on scene and is a summary of the findings from those techniques. Lastly, I testify in court when needed.
Is there a set procedure you follow when you are asked to respond to a crime scene?
Yes.
What is that, please?
Objection leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
Oh, Lord.
If law enforcement is at the scene and would like the crime lab, crime scene response team to respond, they simply call the lab that's in their jurisdiction, and basically the call will get routed to me and I'll dispatch a team to the scene.
And on November 21 of 2021, was the crime scene response unit asked to respond to an incident in the city of Waukesha, county of Waukesha, state of Wisconsin?
Yes.
What was the nature of the call?
The nature of the call was to respond to an address on Maple Street to begin processing a vehicle that was abandoned in the driveway of that residence.
Were you given any limited information as to the significance of the vehicle?
Yes, it was reported to me that the vehicle was more than likely involved in running through the Waukesha Christmas parade.
Were you aware that it was reported pedestrians had been struck during the event?
Yes, that was reported.
The objection is noted. I'll allow it as it is foundational. The witness may answer.
Yes.
Now, when I think of a crime scene, I typically think of a place or a location. Does your unit also cover processing of a vehicle like this?
Yes, in this
Overruled, you may answer.
in this particular circumstance or situation, the vehicle itself can be considered a crime scene in and of itself.
And in your years with the crime lab, you have prior experience processing motor vehicles that were suspected to have been involved in fatal collisions with pedestrians.
Objection leading.
Overruled, foundational. The witness may answer.
Yes, I've processed several vehicles related to that.
Okay. Did you personally respond to the address at 338 Maple?
Yes, I was one of two people responding.
Who else responded?
Julie Avila.
And does Julie work with you?
She does.
What's her task or primary responsibility?
Objection leading.
Overruled, foundational. The witness may answer.
For this particular scene, I was what is called the team leader, so I'm in charge of all aspects of processing the scene. Julie was a crime scene response photographer, so she was tasked with appropriate documentation via photographs.
Okay. Do you recall about what time it was when you arrived on scene?
I arrived on scene approximately at 8:15 p.m. on 11/21/21.
And I'd like to show you a series of photographs, and I'm going to have multiple sets of photographs to go through with you. This is the first set, and the set contains 4 or 5 pictures. So they're going to show up on your screen first, sir, and I'm going to ask you to identify these photographs, and then we'll work backwards and present them to the jury with the court's permission, okay?
Okay.
So first on the screen is Exhibit 67, which I believe was previously admitted? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Objection.
Overruled.
Sir, Sir, do you recognize the objects depicted in State's Exhibit 67?
Yes, this is a overview showing the front end damage of the red Ford Escape that's parked in the driveway of 338 Maple
Okay.
Avenue.
Next, we're going to present to you Exhibit 93. What's depicted in 93, please?
This is a close-up showing the damage of the front end of the vehicle, the red Ford Escape that's parked in that driveway.
All right. I should have asked you this prior to the photographing of the vehicle. Is it been moved or altered by you in any way, sir?
No.
Objection leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
No.
Please put up for the witness number 68, which has been previously admitted.
Go ahead.
Objection.
Overruled.
Please describe, sir.
This is the photograph's taken at an angle, the front passenger side of the vehicle, but again showing the damage of the front end of the vehicle.
Number 102. You recognize that photo, sir?
I do.
Please describe.
This is
Objection.
Overruled.
This is a mid-range photograph of the driver front quarter panel, showing a side view of the damage of the hood and the quarter panel.
And number 103. Please describe.
This is a overall photograph of the back end of the red Ford Escape.
Do you believe these 5 photographs are true and accurate depictions of the way the vehicle looked on the driveway at 338 Maple that evening, sir?
Objection leading.
I'm sorry, I was trying to get a hold of my witness list. Could you re-ask the question?
Yes, Your Honor. Do these 5 photographs truly and accurately depict the way the vehicle looked at 338 Maple Street on the evening of November 21, 21?
Objection leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
Yes.
Move to admit 67, well, 67 and 68 are already in, so move to admit 93, 102, 103, and permission to publish all 5.
Objection. Relevancy.
Noted, overruled. The exhibits are received, permission to publish granted, specifically 67, 93, 68, 102, 103. I realize some may have been received previously, but to be thorough, I wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you.
Ooh. It looks like the front is kind of
All right,
done.
Mr. Johnson, 67 you testified was an overview photograph?
Yeah, that's an overall photograph of
Objection
the.
leading.
Overruled, they're now being shown to the jury. It's proper, it's foundational as well. Go ahead.
Yes, this is a overall photograph showing the location of the vehicle, but specifically also showing the front end damage of the vehicle.
All right. Next, 93.
Good
Please
gosh.
describe.
A close-up.
Overruled, go ahead.
A close-up of the damage that has been sustained on the front hood area, bumper area of the red Ford Escape.
That's crazy,
Next is
guys.
68.
Objection.
Overruled.
Mid-range photograph showing the damage, front end damage, specifically from a reference point of the front passenger corner of the vehicle.
I observe on the bottom of that photograph there appears to be some liquid substance on the ground. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, I
Objection
do.
leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
Do you remember seeing that substance that night?
Yes.
Were you able to tell what it was?
Objection speculative.
Overruled,
Yeah.
based upon his training and experience, he may answer.
Not specifically what type of fluid it is, but some kind of engine compartment fluid.
From this vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Number 102, please.
Wow.
A
Look at that side
mid-range
view. Look at that
of
hood.
the driver front quarter panel. Also showing what I describe as a white headband on the broken driver door mirror.
Is that illuminated in some fashion?
Objection
Yes.
leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer. Just a reminder to wait until I fully rule on the objection before you answer.
I believe it's. Yes.
How was it illuminated?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
It has white LEDs that are within the cloth and they're blinking on and off.
Okay. And then last would be 103.
Objection.
Please describe. Oh, I'm sorry, he objected.
Overruled. Go ahead.
An overall from the further into the driveway showing the back end, the rear end of the red Ford Escape.
All right. Now, after these photographs were collected on Maple Street, did there come a time where you planned to move the vehicle?
Yes. Part of the process in arriving at a scene, there are 3 steps. There's a scene approach, scene assessment, and a scene processing strategy. So the scene approach starts with the moment I receive a call and start thinking about what evidence might be present, just knowing the limited facts or the limited information that I have during the call. When I arrive on scene, I do a scene assessment. So I did a walkthrough of this particular vehicle, around it, and including the property. Determined from that what my processing strategy would be. So going back to answer the question, my thought and my processing strategy this particular night was to collect anything that would be fragile in nature off of the vehicle and then get it transported to a more environmentally friendly secured facility to continue processing in the subsequent days.
Was that for your comfort or for some scientific reason?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
It was very cold that night, so it was difficult to process. It was very windy, but it was for a purely scientific standpoint of doing the necessary steps of collecting whatever I needed and I deemed fragile. Collect that stuff, and then let's get it into an enclosed trailer and transport to a secure facility that's nearby.
So what items, if you recall, did you remove that you had deemed fragile?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
There were first some items that were in the yard of this particular residence, some examination gloves, and a winter hat that was in the backyard. So those items were collected.
Huh.
Of particular interest on the vehicle was the headband that was around the driver door mirror that was broken. So that was important to collect because during transport, that most likely would have fallen off. So that's what I'm talking about, fragile evidence.
Okay. So that item was removed?
Correct.
What about the front bumper? We saw that laying on the driveway. Was that secured in some fashion?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, to make transport easy, the bumper would have had to be lifted up with bungee cords and resecured. Otherwise, as the tow company is moving the vehicle, the bumper would just continue to go underneath the vehicle, further damaging or maybe even eliminating or getting rid of physical evidence that might be on that bumper.
So were you the person that secured that front bumper?
I was there and I assisted with the tow company.
Okay. Where'd you take it?
So it was taken from this residence and it was taken to Waukesha County Sheriff's Office secured facility.
Is that nearby here in Waukesha?
Yes.
Okay. Ask Madam Clerk if you could turn off the display, please, and I'm going to present to the witness only another series of photographs, starting with 105.
What is he doing, weirdo?
Go ahead. Do you know how many?
Is he getting something out of that nasty nail?
Sequential?
Yes, 105 through 112.
Thank you.
Objection.
Click. Listen to him. Click, 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 click. And that rolling of the eye up in the air. Disgust. Or cockiness. Oh, I just want to snatch that pin insert from his hand and throw it across the room. All right. Here you go.
Well, I haven't seen them yet, so I'll have to wait, but you can put them up and then I'll make a ruling.
I think we're ready on our end. We're just waiting for Madam Clerk.
Oh, sorry.
You're just mad because you're homeless now because you wrecked Mama's car.
Just mixed each other twice.
105.
All right.
There.
Given what I see on the screen, the objection is overruled.
Okay. And Your Honor, for the sake of time, I'm just going to ask the witness to look through these photos just as if he had them in front of him, and then I'll ask some foundational questions. So 105 is on the screen. Do you see it, sir?
Yes.
Do you need more time to review that photo?
No.
106, please.
Yes.
Do you need more time to review that photo?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
107?
Oh, please. Brooks.
Yes.
Do you need more time?
No.
108?
Yes.
Do you need more time?
No.
109?
Yes.
Need more time?
No.
110?
Yes, I recognize, and I don't need more time.
111?
I recognize, and I don't need more time.
And 112?
I recognize that photo, and don't need any more time.
Where were each of these photos taken?
Each of these photos were taken at that secure facility that where Waukesha County Sheriff's Office, their secured facility. This is indoors at that facility.
Okay. And do you believe each of these photos is a true and accurate representation of what the vehicle looked like once you towed it to the secure facility?
Yes.
A move for admission of 105 through 112 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection.
Noted. Exhibits 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, and 112 are all received. Permission to publish granted. As to all.
So in this photograph, sir, is the, what's the condition of the front bumper, please?
Objection leading.
Overruled. Foundational. The witness may answer.
The front bumper is secured in somewhat, should be its original position with those bungee cords that we previously talked about.
Okay. Next, 106, please. Please describe.
Overall photograph, the front driver's quarter panel, including showing the hood damage.
Was there an effort by you to try and match the pieces of the bumper to the frame of the body, or is that just the way it came together?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. Go ahead. You may answer.
At this time, I was not trying to physically match anything together. It was just for the purpose of securing it for transport.
Okay. What is the position of the driver's side window in this photograph, sir?
The window is down.
Is that the way you found it?
Yes.
Objection.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
He's gonna object because the window is down. Yeah, it was down. Cause don't you remember? Do y'all remember in some of the witnesses, and I think even some of the pictures, he was like, I remember one officer testified that he was hanging out the window and looking behind to look at his, well, in Darrell's words, it'd probably be his handiwork, but in our words, it'd be his line of vicious attack and destruction. I'm just, though, I mean, like, look at that. That hit people. And he just kept driving. As many, and and to see, well, is that, I don't think the headband is still over, that hat up in there, that's just, this poor family, the poor families, the poor witnesses. Oh my goodness. It's just unbelievable.
Responded to the scene where the vehicle was located and can testify based upon his knowledge.
107, please. Please describe.
An overall photograph from the point view of the front passenger side of the vehicle.
Next, 108.
Objection.
Oh yeah.
Overruled.
Sorry. Look at that side mirror, just, it's unbelievable. And he just kept on driving. I really am surprised he wasn't hurt.
Please describe.
An overview of the front of the vehicle, including the front passenger quarter panel and the front passenger door.
What position was the front passenger window in?
Down.
Is that the way you found it?
Yes.
Okay. 109. Please describe.
An overall photograph of the passenger side of the vehicle. Including in this photograph is the front quarter panel, the front passenger door, and the rear passenger door.
And along the front passenger door and the rear passenger door, do you see anything remarkable?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Spanning the length of both doors is quite a significant scratch.
Yeah,
Have
I'd
you
say.
seen scratches like that before in processing motor vehicles, sir?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
I have.
What is that consistent with, please?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Coming into contact with another item.
Thank you. Number 110. Please describe.
An overall photograph showing the rear of the passenger side of the vehicle. Specifically noting that the rear passenger window, that window is not down, it was actually shattered,
Okay.
broken.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And also showing in this photograph are 2 apparent fired bullet defects.
Okay, I have some other photos more specific to that in a minute. Thank you. 111.
Objection.
Overruled.
Please describe.
An overall photograph from the vantage point of the rear passenger side of the vehicle.
And then 112, please.
Objection.
Overruled.
An overall of the vehicle from vantage point rear driver side of the vehicle.
Is the rear driver's side window, what position is it in, please?
That is up.
And is that the way you found it?
Yes.
And it looks like there's substance on the exterior of the vehicle on the driver's side. Do you see what I'm referring to, sir?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, I do.
Do you know what that item or substance was?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. Based upon his training and experience and his personal observation of the vehicle, he may answer.
Not knowing what specific fluid that might be, I did do a presumptive test to see if it's possibly blood.
Okay.
All tests that I did of that liquid that's on the driver's side came back negative for the
Okay.
possible presence of blood.
And was it sprayed along the most of the driver's side of the vehicle?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'd like to move on, sir, and ask you, did you do an interior inspection of the vehicle
Yes.
and an exterior inspection of the vehicle?
Correct.
I'd like to highlight some specific areas. Starting with the interior of the vehicle, would you have processed the entire passenger compartment and cargo space of this vehicle?
Yes.
And what types of things would you have been looking for, sir?
Based on my former experience, looking for surface types that might contain potential DNA evidence. So specifically, anything that's in the vehicle that would have been handled to control the vehicle, or handled in a repetitive manner, or with some kind of force. So for example, the steering wheel, the gear shifter, those items were swapped by myself for the potential of DNA. We also looked at surfaces within the vehicle and processed those for the possible presence of latent fingerprints.
Do you remember locating an object on the front passenger seat of the vehicle?
Yes.
I'm going to ask that we display to the witness only Exhibit 117. Do you recognize what's shown in Exhibit 117, sir?
Yes, there's a hat that's on the front passenger seat cushion.
Is that the way the object looked when you found it?
Yes.
Move to admit 117, permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. Exhibit 117 is received. Permission to publish granted.
Could you please, it's a touch screen in front of you, circle the hat that you just described for the jury? And then to your left, sir, on the witness stand, before you took the stand, I placed an item up there that's been marked as exhibit number 87. You see that on the table there?
Yes.
Can you identify exhibit 87?
You're just gonna say, dear God, Brooks better gotten one after that fit he threw, that he didn't get a label or a sticker on the evidence. Let's see.
Yes, this is the winter style hat that I collected from that front passenger seat.
Okay.
Oh, that's the hat. Well, no, I guess Brooks wouldn't get that.
I'd
Okay,
like to
Sally, come on.
show another photograph to the witness, exhibit 118, please.
Objection.
Overruled. Go ahead.
Do you recognize the object in exhibit 118?
I do.
Do you believe this photo is a true and accurate representation of the object as you found it on the vehicle?
I do.
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. Your answer may stand again. Just wait till I rule on the objection, please.
Move to admit 118, permission to publish.
Exhibit 118 is received. Permission to publish granted.
Please describe.
This is a close-up photograph of the clothing items that were pinned to the windshield by the crumpled hood, and it was being held in place by that hood being pinning the items against the windshield, as well as that wiper arm.
Okay. Did you eventually remove these items?
Yes,
What did you find them to be?
it was a detachable hood from a jacket as well as a winter hat.
And can you just point out on the touch screen which is which?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
That's the hood portion, and that's the hat portion.
Okay, thank you.
It's nuts.
Did you find any U.S. mail or paperwork inside the vehicle?
Objection. Relevancy.
Ooh.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
Yeah, we want to know what's
Yes,
in
I
there.
did.
Were there any names associated with the U.S. mail or paperwork inside the vehicle?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
Yes.
What was that name?
Darrell E. Brooks Jr.
Was there an address, if you can recall?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
There was, but I don't exactly recall it.
Sure. Also on the table next to you, sir, is your report that I've marked as exhibit number 90.
Pretty good
You
evidence
see
there.
that?
Yes.
Wait.
Oh Lord, what now?
Placed on the table.
Go ahead, Attorney Hopper.
Well, objection. How did it get on the table?
Oh, for gosh sake! Are you
Your
kidding me?
objections noted, it's overruled. Record will reflect that there's a copy of a crime lab report. It has an exhibit sticker, number 90, with the case number of this case. Handing it back to the witness. Go ahead, you may question the
How
witness
did it
regarding
get
it.
on the table? Who placed it on the table?
Oh, for goodness sake! Didn't they already explain this to him? Wasn't it something about, like, I think one time one of the DAs walked up, but they, because of, he always talks about how unfair everything is, but because of the fact that he's in his shackles, his alleged shock shackles, which we know they are not shock, but we all wish they were, they can't walk up either. So probably somebody placed it up there prior to, so we wouldn't bitch about it like he is now. He's a hard person to please. All right, let's see what they have to say.
Attorney Hopper indicated she placed it there.
When did that happen?
Attorney Hopper, go ahead, continue.
Did you author this report, sir?
Yes, I did.
If you review the report, would you be able to see the address for Darrell Brooks that was noted in the paperwork from the inside of the SUV?
I will.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Please
Noted, overruled.
Yes, I would.
Please do that, sir.
Objection.
Overruled.
Grounds for the overrule.
The witness may answer.
Grounds for the overrule.
Shut up, Brooks.
Go ahead, sir.
The address for the pieces of mail that I recovered was 4014 North 19th Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53209.
Thank you.
Objection. That should be struck. When he asked the question, he said he didn't recall. So how can you force somebody to recall?
The witness's recollection was refreshed through the use of his report, which he indicated he documented the address. Your objections noted, it's overruled. The answer will stand. Go ahead, next question, please.
Yes, and actually, if I could back up 1 minute and ask Ms. Gussie to put back up 117. Got to ask a question about 117.
Go ahead.
And if we could display it,
Do what
please,
y'all
Madam
wanna
Clerk.
Oh, here we go. Wait a minute.
Answer no question.
Mr. Brooks, please refrain from interrupting. You'll have an opportunity to ask
I
your
have an
questions
objection
on
of
cross.
how stuff got to the table without my
Oh,
knowledge. That
my.
should be known. That
What?
should at least be noted for the record.
It was
I wouldn't
noted
be.
for.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, of course not. You're in shackles, you
Your
fool.
objections noted, it's overruled. Go ahead, Attorney
I
Hopper.
can't believe
So
that.
that needs to stop happening.
In
It needs
addition
be
to the
fixed.
hat,
All right, I'm gonna excuse the jury.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Can't keep doing stuff without.
Yeah, well, and remember now, I just want to remind everybody, sorry, I bumped into the table. I'm getting so angry here. He didn't want to, he didn't want to be held up. Remember, oh, it might go to 6 o'clock, but guess what? Them being held up are by his doing and his doing alone. What did he want to watch? See, if he had watched her go place it on the table, he would have complained about that. There is no pleasing him. It's all about delay, disrupt, and I forgot the first one. Distract, delay, disrupt. Good enough to me. Okay, let's listen to it. Wow.
fair trial. That's my right.
What is your
Be
right?
able to do things without my knowledge. And then pass it off to the jury like that's fair. They deserve to know that too.
The jury is finding out about you.
The rest of you can have a seat as well. As soon as the jury's out, I'll make a record.
I hope he doesn't stand up. It's going to be annoying me if he doesn't sit down. Sit down.
All right, Mr. Brooks, you are well aware that the reason
consent
I
to
just
call
shut.
that name.
Oh my God, I'm sitting here like I'm in. I'm sorry, guys.
I don't consent to being called that name.
are because this court indicated it would limit the movement of the parties due to your custodial status to keep things fair.
And I
You are
merely asked, how did
attempting-
it get there?
Sir, do not
I'm not
interrupt
entitled-
me or
I'm-
you will
I'm
Boy,
forfeit
he's
your
being
right to
know how I got
present
there.
in this courtroom.
So rude.
So you
Not
holding me in
interrupt
contempt?
me.
Are you holding me in contempt?
We wish. Well,
I'm
when do
gonna make a
you?
record.
That's
Are you
gagging.
holding me in contempt?
I'm not answering your questions.
So then you're not holding me in contempt.
Do not interrupt me again or you will go to the other courtroom.
I
Under what
wish.
lawful law?
All right, he's
Please sit
interrupted
in.
me once again. We're gonna clear the courtroom.
Yes.
He's being disrespectful. I'll make
Yes.
a record once he moves. Unless you can promise me
Oh,
right now that
no,
you let
don't
me
do
make
that.
my
Don't
record
do that.
without you interrupting me, sir.
You gonna make your record? You can make your record.
Then
So
please
make your
don't
record.
interrupt me.
Don't hold me in contempt.
I've never said any such thing.
I wish you'd
Removing
just
me
send
from the
him.
courtroom, Your Honor, is essentially holding me in contempt.
No, you're
All
not
right,
in
no, you're
contempt.
forfeiting your right to be present under Illinois versus Allen.
I didn't forfeit
Please
I'm
anything.
send
gonna
him.
start talking, and if he interrupts, then I will close this courtroom, and he will be taken to the next courtroom. Mr. Brooks, you are well aware that the court made some pretrial rulings related to whether there would be, they can stay in, I haven't closed it yet, he's not interrupting me, whether the parties could approach the witness stand. And I did that because you're in custody and I'm not gonna allow you to approach the witness stand while in custody. That is why various precautions have taken place to limit, frankly, that from happening. Throughout this trial, there was one instance at the very beginning of the case where I allowed the state to approach a witness. I corrected that. That hasn't happened since. We've had bailiffs take items up to the witness stand, or the items have been given to the witnesses, or they've been placed on the witness stand. That's proper. There is nothing wrong about that. Nobody's trying to pull a fast one over you. No one is doing something that's not permitted by this court, or frankly under the rules of decorum and courtesy or the presentation of evidence in this case. Frankly, from my perspective, sir, your attempts and your comments are to try to dig in at this jury and to somehow create doubt about the presentation of this case or the fairness of these proceedings without the party, meaning the state, having an opportunity to refute, explain, or correct it. I've taken the jury out at this point to admonish you that any further mumbling under your breath or not recognizing when I uphold or sustain an objection, that I will take as a disrupting interruption meant to disrupt the proceedings. I'm not holding you in contempt. I'm well aware that that's one of my options. I choose not to do it for the reasons that I've stated on the record previously. All right, you can forfeit your right to be present at any point in time during this trial by your conduct under Illinois versus Allen. When it is disruptive, when it does not follow the simple rules of courtesy and decorum, I draw your attention once again to SCR Chapter 62, which has been previously provided to you, which is under the statute there. These constant mumbling and interruptions during the proceedings. I haven't made a record of them today, but I will now. Started at 9:01, then there was 5 at 9:02, 3 at 9:03, 4 at 9:04, 1 at 9:05, 2 at 9:05, 1 at 9:06, 3 at 9:08, again at 9:17, 9:27, 10:31, 1:05, there was talking over by you at 2:03, 5 interruptions at 2:14, 2:15, 2:17, At 2:19, audible muttering. 2:31, 2:33, what I would describe as inappropriate, like muttering under your breath. 2:35. At 3:06, there was the hilarious comment. At 3:11, there was what I would describe as arguing about the muttering and the irony of it all. At 3:12, there were 4 interruptions. At 3:37, more. 4:09, 4:10, more mumbling. At 4:11, twice. And at 4:12, 9 different times. So I think I've made an ample record of the disruptions today. I've been abundantly patient with you. Again, as I stated earlier, I've even limited how I tell these things to the jury about how to disregard, and I simply say the jury is to disregard comments and statements made by the parties or the lawyers, as those are not evidence. So I'm warning you, do not interrupt again. If this jury comes back, or when they come back and you do that, then you will be removed and you will forfeit your right to be present for the examination of this witness. Let's bring the jury back in.
Well, you might as well remove me then, because
Yeah, please do.
what you're doing is not fair. I can't even rebut what you're saying. I didn't interrupt you. I let you make your incorrect record.
Oh, that is so
Mr. Brooks, I'm
sickening.
bringing the jury out and we're continuing. We're going to get through these witnesses.
And I'm not stopping you from
Through your
doing that.
behavior, you're not going to delay
Oh,
these
you just
proceedings.
send him.
I'm not trying to
We're
delay
gonna
the
continue.
proceedings, so I wish you would stop being incorrect on the record and saying
No.
what I'm trying to do if you don't know that. You don't know
Mr.
what
Brooks,
I'm trying to
bringing
do.
the jury out. I'm not going to argue with you.
Then don't. Because I'm not arguing with you either. I'm stating facts.
You're
raising
lying.
Your voice. It's very
Because I'm
angry tone,
tired of you always
and it's
making a
yelling
record.
at me.
You're making a record of me trying to look bad. I know what you're trying to do. It's not gonna work.
I'm making a record of what's accurate.
You're making
You're
your
making a
own
record
self
of
look
incorrect
bad.
statements. That's what
No.
you're doing. You're
Please
not
send
making
him
a
out.
record of
Mr.
not
Brooks,
being
I'm
able.
advising you to be quiet because the jury's coming back
You're
out.
advising me to be quiet. Is you telling
I'm
me to be
advising
quiet?
you to be respectful when the
Are
jury
you
comes
telling
out.
me to be quiet, or are you asking me?
I'm asking you and advising
Okay.
you.
Thank you for correcting that, because don't nobody tell me what to do. I don't tell nobody else what to do.
No, you
I
don't, do
appreciate
you?
We're all adults in here. I've never
No.
told you to do anything.
Look at that face. Look at that face. Does that look like the face of an adult? Look at him. He needs a pacifier. He is so annoying. Ugh.
At all.
Sir, I'd appreciate if your tone of voice would change.
I would appreciate if you would ask me.
No, don't ask him anything.
I'm a grown man with grown kids. Ain't nobody gonna talk to me like that. Nobody. I don't have a problem with doing what you ask me to do, not tell me.
I wish you would axe him with an axe.
Just like when I asked you about subject matter jurisdiction that you have yet to prove on the record.
Please send him out, please.
But somehow I'm being intentionally disruptive.
Well, you are.
Come on, man. Stop.
He is.
Stop it.
No, you stop. You're the one
The
who.
jury's coming out.
All rise for the jury.
Not gonna work.
You better. I wish she would say something so she'd send him out. He's such a baby.
I'm supposed to be scared of getting removed or something.
Well, see, I wish she would take him out right then. If it were me, I would send him out. But nobody asked me. But he should have been sent out. He's sickening. Look at that stare.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Statement continue its examination of this witness. I believe we're on Exhibit 117.
Yes, we have 117. Madam Clerk, would you please turn the display back on?
That bailiff is watching him. Look at that. I wish he needs. That's so.
Mr. Johnson, were there other items on the front
Disrespectful.
passenger seat besides the blue winter hat?
Objection leading.
Oh Lord,
Witness may answer.
I do recall a cell phone being
God.
present on that
People.
front passenger seat.
Do you remember what kind of cell phone?
An iPhone.
I also see some items that look like maybe headphones or charging cable, something like that. Do you see that, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled. Foundational. The witness may answer the
Sound-
exhibits previously discussed.
So
Objection
aggressive.
speculative.
Overruled.
I do see that.
Do you remember something like that on the front passenger seat?
Yes.
Okay. And how about on the floorboard of the front passenger seat? Is there an item there, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
What do you remember that item was?
A TV?
Okay. And to the left of the TV, the white colored object?
I don't recall what that is.
Okay. But this is the exact way the passenger seat looked when you recovered the vehicle, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, if we could please
my
go
God,
to
he's
Exhibit
so stiff. Look at that.
116 and put up for the witness only.
He should be removed for that. That's ridiculous.
Sir, do you see Exhibit
Look at
116
him.
in
He's
front
about
of
to
you?
blow.
I do.
Do you recognize this photograph?
I do.
Do you believe this to be a true and accurate depiction of the interior of the SUV?
Yes.
Move to admit 116, permission to publish.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. Exhibit 116 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
What's in the photo of 116, please?
This is an overview of the rear passenger seat. That rear passenger compartment contained several clothing items and miscellaneous items.
Okay. And was the condition of the back seat like this when you found the vehicle, sir?
Objection speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer based upon his knowledge of recovering the vehicle from the scene and his training and experience.
Yes.
Now, for the witness only, I'm going to please ask Ms. Gussie to put up 113, 114, and 115 for his review.
There he goes.
Go ahead.
Is 113 up?
Yes.
Okay, do you recognize that item?
I do.
Okay. Next, 114. Do you recognize 114?
Yes.
And 115, do you recognize 115? There it is.
I do.
Okay. Do you believe these three photographs truly and accurately depict the vehicle, these areas of the vehicle, sir?
Yes.
Move to admit 113, 114, and 115, permission to publish.
Exhibits 113, 114, and 115 are all received. Permission to publish granted.
Please.
Jury would let me know when the jury box monitors are on. All right, thank you very much.
All right. Please describe 113, sir.
That is an apparent fired bullet defect that's in the windshield of the Ford Escape.
Is that the rear view mirror on the left side of the picture?
Yes, this photograph would be from the inside looking through the windshield.
Were you able to tell the path of travel for the bullet?
Objection
Yes.
speculative.
Please describe.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes. The fired bullet that caused this defect most likely came through that rear passenger window that was shattered and entered the vehicle and then exited the vehicle through the windshield.
So that's a exit damage that we're seeing there.
Yes.
How can you be sure?
Windshields have laminated glass, and so the directionality of a fired bullet going through laminate glass, there's an indicative laminate tag, we call it, so that shows the direction of the fired bullet.
Okay. Number 114, please. Please describe.
That's an apparent fired bullet defect. I call this a striking defect. That's on the roof rail of the passenger side of the vehicle.
Okay. Why do you call it a striking defect?
It didn't penetrate any part of the vehicle. It was more of a glancing kind of ricochet.
Okay. And then number 115. And if you could zoom in on that back left. Yep, thank you. Please describe.
This is an apparent fired bullet defect. I call this a perforating defect because it actually went through the exterior door skin and went all the way through into the inside of the vehicle.
Did you ever find the fired round in the vehicle?
Yes, I did recover a fired bullet and fired bullet fragment from the rear cargo area of the vehicle.
Okay. Was there any evidence that that bullet traveled any further than the cargo area of the SUV?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled, based upon the witness's training and experience and examination of the vehicle, he may answer.
No, the bullet stayed in that rear cargo area.
Okay. Now, aside from examining the interior and the exterior of the vehicle at ground level, did you attempt to look underneath the vehicle?
Yes, the first processing strategy, if we go back to that, I wanted to get everything collected from all sides of the vehicle and inside of the vehicle before putting it on a vehicle lift to examine the undercarriage of the vehicle.
So you did do that.
Yes.
What kinds of things are you looking for on the undercarriage?
Looking for anything that shouldn't be normally present on the undercarriage of the vehicle. So I was looking for any hairs, fibers, any potential biological fluids such as blood.
Did you find any such objects?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, he may answer.
Yes, I did.
Did you collect those items?
Yes, I did.
Oh boy.
You had described for us earlier swabbing of the steering wheel on the interior of the vehicle. Do you recall that?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
How do you go about swabbing a steering wheel, sir?
Objection. What's the relevancy?
Overruled, the witness may answer.
The best way to collect DNA evidence from a surface is to use a two-swab technique. Well, the first swab is a swab that's slightly moistened with deionized water, and basically swabbing the surface and then following up that swab with a dry swab. So it's a two-swab process, a wet swab followed by a dry swab, and that becomes one item of evidence.
Same thing for the gear shift?
Yes.
What do you do with these swabs after you collect them?
I put them into the appropriate container and then seal that container, write my description of that particular item of evidence, and eventually that evidence is transferred to a unit at the crime laboratory for analysis. In this particular case, those items, anything for DNA, is going to be transferred to the DNA analysis unit.
Did that happen?
Yes, that did.
Oh boy.
And how about the hat, States Exhibit 87? Did that get transferred to another unit for further analysis, to your knowledge?
Yes, so any clothing item that's
Hold on, there was an objection. Grounds?
Relevancy.
Overruled, the witness may.
Wait a minute. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Look at that. He looks like a damn fool. And don't you know that our friend the bailiff wants to laugh? Oh my God, that is hilarious. Can you just imagine what the cross exam is going to be like? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's too funny. I mean, seriously, look at that. Okay. And the comments put, what is he looking at on the ceiling? That should be good. I got to try to figure out something too. It hasn't come to me yet, but there we go.
Continue answering.
Clothing items that are worn by individuals are a really good source of transfer of DNA. So yes, I collected that hat and it was transferred to the DNA analysis unit.
Your report exhibit 90, did you believe that to be a true and accurate narration or summary, I should say, of your work in this case, sir?
Yes, I do.
Move to admit number 90, Your Honor.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. Exhibit 90 is received.
I don't have any other questions then, Your Honor.
Oh boy, wait a minute. Oh, take a deep breath, guys. Here we
Thank
go.
you. Cross exam, please.
Come on. Get to it. Remember, you don't want to stay late.
You said you do DNA analysis, correct?
No, I did DNA analysis for nearly 10 years. I don't actually do DNA analysis anymore.
So at the time of the incident, were you doing DNA analysis?
No.
So who did the DNA analysis on all the items that were found during your investigation?
DNA analyst Trevor Naleid.
When I
Did you
think
see the results of those DNA Did you see the results of those DNA tests?
We did have conversations.
so that Trevor guy, I'm pretty sure that he's the one who's going to be coming up next. The DNA analyst. I'm pretty sure that's the next one coming up. Sorry, I know I've been interrupted a lot, but hey, can't help myself sometimes.
Did you see him?
No.
Look at that
So it'd be
expression.
fair to say you don't know what those results were.
I didn't verify it. Like I said, we just had conversations.
So do you know the results of the DNA analysis?
In particular, is there a particular item?
For any of the items?
I don't recall the exact results, no.
And you made reference to the gunshot that you stated stayed in the rear cargo. Where in the rear cargo did you find that shell casing?
Objection, that's a misstatement. It wasn't a shell casing, Your Honor.
Shell casing, fragment, same thing.
Hold on. There's been an objection.
So
I'll
nasty.
sustain the objection. It mischaracterizes the testimony and ask that you rephrase it.
Did you find a shell casing? A bullet fragment?
I found a fired bullet fragment.
Where did you find the fired bullet fragment?
It was really close proximity to where the rear latch comes down and hooks in to stay closed. So on the floor of the rear cargo by where the actual cargo door comes down.
And you said a latch that comes down?
Yeah, so how doors latch, like car doors latch, you know where the latch is? So where the rear cargo door came down and latched, it was in really close proximity on the horizontal surface of that rear cargo area.
Did you observe if the bullet fragment had struck anything?
It struck some items in that rear cargo area.
Do you recall what it struck?
I don't.
You made reference to a headband being on the rear view driver's side mirror, correct?
Correct, it was on the driver's door mirror.
And from your expertise, how would you, in your opinion, guess that it got there?
Oh wow, it's a dumb question. Why would you ask that?
By coming into contact with something or someone that was wearing it?
And do you know that for sure?
No, but based off of my experience
Oh,
of
come
a lot of years
on.
of examination of physical items of evidence.
But it'd be fair to say that you don't know exactly.
Don't you love? Oh God, there's that god awful expression when he goes, "You don't know for sure. You don't know exactly." He is a fool.
No, I wasn't at the parade. I wasn't. No.
You stated that you were present for the towing of the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall at any time anyone attempting to start the vehicle?
No.
And you stated that the bumper was, I guess, moved at some point so it would drag under the vehicle. I'm guessing that's what you said. If I'm wrong, you can.
No, that's correct. Yeah, we
What do you mean
use
you're wrong?
bungee cords to secure it off the ground so that when we're moving it or putting it on the flatbed to go to the actual enclosed trailer, that it wouldn't be constantly going underneath the vehicle.
When towing the vehicle, what was it placed on?
Because of the amount of traffic or cars that were parked on the road, the towing company couldn't get the enclosed trailer right to the end of the driveway. So the vehicle was put onto a flatbed truck and then driven a few houses down, where then it was transferred to an enclosed trailer and then removed from the scene.
So with the bumper, being that it was first placed on a flatbed truck, as you say, at that time, what the bumper had, what problem would the bumper had caused if it wasn't going to be physically dragged or anything at that point?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
What
Me
kind
neither.
of problem would the bumper pose if the vehicle was on a flatbed truck?
The whole point,
Essentially, what I'm saying is to give you more clarity.
That's
How
pretty
could the
good.
bumper be dragged at that point?
it was being removed from the surface of the driveway onto the flatbed. So if the bumper weren't secured in an upright position, it would be pulled, and the bumper, as the vehicle is going this way, the bumper would be pulled underneath the vehicle.
So once it was secured on the flatbed truck, would the bumper still pose any problem?
The vehicle on the flatbed, the bumper was in a secure position.
If it wasn't bungee corded, would it have posed a problem?
Yes.
How so if it wasn't moving?
The whole purpose was to secure the bumper in place to preserve any physical evidence that might have been on the bumper.
And do you recall who did the actual towing?
The company is Complete Towing and Recovery.
And you stated to wanting to get the vehicle to a environmentally friendly, secure location?
Yeah, a better term would be environmentally controlled.
What do you mean by environmentally controlled?
Proper lighting, outside of the elements, outside of view of the public, so an enclosed building.
Why the reference to outside of the public?
It's easier to do examinations in a controlled environment.
Would it be fair to say at that time, before it was towed, the vehicle had been secured, checked? That was done out in public. So, what would be the difference at that point?
I'm going to go back to my original statement of what my
I blame you.
primary duty is. My primary duty is to preserve the integrity of the evidence. So that night, I was concerned with doing the necessary steps that I deemed relevant to collect, and then get that vehicle to a more suitable environment, just based off of how much more work and analysis and processing that vehicle would entail.
Fundamentally, I follow.
Fundamentally.
I follow what you're saying. Fundamentally, the question though is,
Yeah, what is the question?
by the time you arrived to the scene where the vehicle was located, were you aware that the vehicle had essentially been already investigated?
No.
So you had no knowledge that the vehicle had been secured, had been pretty much investigated by that point.
Well, I was aware that the vehicle was in a secured state. I don't know what happened prior to that. It was very little information that I received on the initial phone call because of the hectic nature of everything. So I had an address and I knew that the vehicle was being secured by law enforcement.
So law enforcement were present when you arrived to the scene.
Yes.
And at that time you had learned did you learn any knowledge from the law enforcement other than what you were told during the phone call?
No.
Do you recall who you were called by?
I was called by Special Agent in Charge Dave Clabundi of the Division of Criminal Investigations.
Do you recall what time you arrived at the scene?
I arrived at approximately 8:15 p.m.
Do you recall what time the vehicle was found?
I don't recall.
Do you recall anyone telling you or mentioning what time the vehicle had been found?
I don't recall.
God.
So it'd be fair to say before you arrived on the scene, you have no knowledge of what's been happening around the vehicle.
That's correct.
You said you made reference to a hat being found in the background. Do you remember saying that? Or in the backyard, rather. I'm sorry, not the background, the backyard. I meant to say.
Yes.
And at the time that you observed this hat in the backyard, do you, from your expert opinion, do you recall it having any relevance to the vehicle?
No, it was an item of evidence or a potential item of evidence that just seemed out of place. So in those types of situations, I always collect those types of items.
But you weren't sure at the time if it had any involvement with the actual vehicle.
No.
Was there anything significant that stood out about the hat?
Just the location.
Yeah, it was on the windshield.
Did you find any blood on the hat? Did you find,
Yikes, man.
or is it just pretty much just a hat in the backyard?
I didn't do a thorough examination of the hat.
Oops, I'm sorry. That was the one in the backyard. I was thinking about the one on the windshield. Okay, now I'm getting as bad as him. He's dumbing me down. I'm letting him dumb me down. Can't let him do that.
So as far as you were concerned, you was basically just taking it as evidence as a precautionary thing, or?
Yeah, it was an item that just seemed out of place, so I collected that hat.
Did you at any time obtain knowledge about the relevancy of that?
No.
All the photographs that you were shown, had you seen those photographs before today?
Yes.
Do you recall if they were taken the same night of your investigation or multiple nights or days, rather?
There were multiple days.
And do you recall why you had to, or do you recall why those photos had to be taken over a multiple day span?
Yes, the vehicle needed a comprehensive evaluation or processing examination of pretty much every single side and surface of that vehicle.
And to do that, photograph-wise, would have took days?
Yes.
So when did you start? When did you start actually doing an investigation of the items inside of the vehicle?
That would have been the 22nd, November 22nd.
So the next day.
Correct.
And so did you yourself do analysts of the outside of the vehicle?
Yes.
Same day, 22nd of November?
Yes.
So you kind of started the outside and the inside pretty much roughly at the same time.
Yes.
How is this helping him, Darrell?
Do you recall how long your complete investigation took?
Mine along with my colleagues?
Yours.
Mine. The examination itself of just me examining the vehicle?
Just you.
Probably over 40 hours. And that does not include the
Wow.
report that I'm writing. It doesn't include the process of going through the report, everything.
That's very
But my
extensive.
examination, at least 40.
Wow, that's a lot.
And so I'm assuming you did the report after you completed the initial investigation part.
Yes, the report's a summary of my processing.
And define summary. What do you mean by summary?
It pulls everything
Gosh.
together. It details my examinations and any findings I have from those examinations.
I always view summary as not every detail, but pretty much like it's much as would be relevant, but not every single detail. Would that be fair to say?
This report is comprehensive in the terms of it lists every single item that was collected.
So why would you refer to it as a summary?
Oh my gosh. You know, yeah, I'm sorry. I just can't look at his face or hear him from it. I'm sorry I'm stopping it, but why does he challenge these educated men with these years of experience and expertise? Why is he trying to challenge him on stuff? It's not helping him at all. Ugh.
It's a summary of the examination and processing. That's the best way to describe it. It's not a dictation, in other words.
What do you mean by dictation?
There are other reports
Lord help
that
us.
other agencies may do that are dictated, right? I did this, then I did this, then I did this. This is a summary. This isn't a dictated report.
So what exactly did you summarize in your report?
Oh my God.
My examination and processing strategies that I used, and the items of evidence collected, and any relevant findings associated with those examinations.
Did you do any examination of the cell phones?
No, I collected those and transferred those to a detective with the Waukesha Police Department.
Do you recall who that detective was?
David, his last name is spelled, I believe, Foyen, Foyen.
So at the time that you turned the phones over, did you do any more work in regards to the phones?
No.
Do you recall doing any investigation on the airbag control module?
No, I don't do that.
Do you recall obtaining a search warrant to conduct an inspection on the ACM?
Sorry,
No.
I didn't understand.
An inspection of what?
The ACM, I guess that would be the air control module. I'm guessing that's what that's
Thank you.
referencing.
No, since I don't do that type of analysis or examination, I didn't obtain any search warrant with that.
You're doing great, Brooks. Keep
Any
on.
reason why I would say that in the paperwork?
Objection vague.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Look at his face. He's like, what the hell is he talking about?
As to what paperwork you're referring to.
I'm guessing.
I bet you it didn't even his paperwork. Well, I don't know.
I don't know what it will be called, but it says conclusion inspection summary. in the conclusion inspection or conclusion/inspection summary.
Hmm.
Do you
Is
recall?
it from this witness?
Wait,
Is it from this witness?
inspection.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I don't think that is from this witness, John. I don't see anything like that in this Exhibit 90. Are you perhaps still looking at Inspector Schultz's report from the
That's what I was gonna
State
say.
Patrol, the last witness?
What page number do you have? And I'll take a look at it and I'll compare it.
This says page 5.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, he's looking at the last exhibit from Inspector Schultz, 83.
It says Chief Christopher Johnson.
Oh, it does say that in 83.
I'm
It says, if I can read for completeness, or you can, it says, upon arrival, I met with crime scene chief Christopher Johnson from the Wisconsin State Crime Bureau.
No. That's not what I'm reading from.
Okay. Chief Johnson had obtained a search warrant to conduct the mechanical inspection and to image the data retained within the escape's airbag control module ACM,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that was written by Inspector Schultz, who just testified, not this witness.
Oh,
To clarify the
Darrell.
record here.
Thank you.
Hmm. Oh, Darrell.
I apologize for that. It's all in the same paperwork with Chief Johnson, so maybe that's where the confusion comes in.
The record would reflect this witness. His last name is Johnson, so I think that's
Yeah,
understandable.
I didn't know. I was just
Yeah,
reading
shut up. No,
what
I'm
I have
not.
here.
Fair
No.
enough. Keep going.
Just go on. Go on.
Do you recall at any time obtaining any type of search warrants pertaining to the vehicle in this incident?
Yes, I have obtained a copy of the search warrant.
And do you remember what that search warrant was for? What was the intended search?
To search the vehicle and process it for any biological fluids, hairs, fibers, any electronic equipment, any personally identifying information.
And the ACM would fall under the lines of the mechanical side of.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, the incessant rustling of papers.
At any time during your inspection, did you observe anyone try to start the vehicle?
When I was with Investigator Schultz, when he came to my laboratory, he attempted to start it.
Yeah, make sure you're looking at the right one here. Uh, oh my goodness. Now let's say
And
just
after you already stated that your initial part of your investigation before the report totaled 40 hours. And at that time, after you had completed your report, did you do any more investigating in regards to the vehicle?
After my report was complete?
Yeah, after you had done the 40 hours that you stated with, and then the actual report.
No. Once my report's done, I didn't do any further examination of the vehicle.
And after that was completed, had you received any follow-up from law enforcement after you had completed everything?
No.
Had you yourself followed up with law enforcement about the investigation after you completed your initial part?
No.
get your little papers all tidy.
You yourself didn't file any claims in this matter.
Oh, here we go. Well, at least you know he's wrapping it up now.
Do you know of anyone who filed any claims in this matter?
I don't.
Here we go. Here we go.
And do you recall who you were subpoenaed by to testify?
I was subpoenaed by District Attorney Sue Hopper.
Do you recall when that was?
I believe it was sometime, I don't exactly recall when.
And did you follow up on that subpoena
No.
after you had received it?
Oh, why?
No.
Have you at any time seen or read any complaints in regards to this incident?
No.
Do you know who the plaintiff is in this matter?
Here we go. Your mama.
The state of Wisconsin?
Would you label that as a person, an actual human? Grounds.
Sustained, not relevant.
You ever actually seen the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Negative.
Sustained.
If you saw the plaintiff, would you be able to identify the plaintiff?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Sustained pursuant to Analyst 611. Sir, please move on to a different line of question.
Please. Forget about getting to your place by 6 or before.
Just trying to establish who the plaintiff is, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. Nobody gives a flying flip.
Do you see the plaintiff present in court today?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Sustained.
Would you consider yourself to be an injured party in this matter?
No.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Just very briefly. Mr. Johnson, you said when you arrived on Maple, police officers present,
That's correct.
and you said the vehicle was secure at that point.
Correct.
Objection.
What do you mean?
Leading.
No.
The
Rude.
answer may stand. Next question. Overruled.
What do you mean by that, sir?
The perimeter was secured with crime scene tape, and there were officers that were standing at the location where the vehicle was.
Would it have been possible for a member of the public or any curious person to just walk up and touch the vehicle or do anything to the vehicle?
Objection. Speculative.
Based upon his training and experience, he may answer. Overruled.
They would have been stopped by law enforcement.
Thank you, that's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. You may
I
step
hear
down.
look at his tapping.
While he's stepping down, my jurors.
Look, there's that face again. He's going tap, 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 tap. I can't quite make the noise. It's making him crazy. He's gonna blow. He's gonna blow. Let's see what happens.
Does anyone else in the courtroom want to stand? I do want to get through one more witness tonight.
Quit tapping.
And then, the exhibits that Mr. Johnson has, Your Honor, what would you like done with those?
I'll take them.
All right,
I have 90 and 87.
yes.
Look at him.
What was 87?
87 is a hat.
I'm not sure if I did move that, but I would move that into evidence, so we don't need that item for the next witness. Please.
Okay, I'll put that back.
Thank you.
Objection to that.
Noted.
Before you showed me that, I didn't even see what that was. If you would have never told,
again.
I know, but if you never would have told me, I never would have even know what that was, and I didn't see it till you just moved it.
The witness had it up on the stand, but here it is. It's exhibit marked as exhibit 87. Go ahead and say, state has moved it into evidence. I believe there's an objection.
Yes,
It's noted.
there is an objection.
Overruled based upon the testimony of the prior witness. It is received. And who do we have coming up to the stand?
Your Honor, the state next calls Trevor Naleid, and for the record, he was handed a copy of Exhibit 91 on his way to the witness stand.
Tell him, Hopper.
All right. Thank you. Sir, could you please stand and raise your right hand? My clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give
Brooks
is
is a
the truth, the
joke.
whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you. Be seated. And just for the record, what is 91? I know you're going to get to it, but
91 is Mr. Naleid's report, Your Honor.
all right. Thank you. Then, all right. Good. I guess evening, sir. The first thing I will have you do is to state your first and last names for the record, and then spell each, please.
Sure. My name is Trevor Naleid, Trevor Naleid.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, and I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. Sir, where do you work?
I am employed by the Wisconsin Department of Justice at the State Crime Laboratory in Madison.
And what is your position there?
I'm a senior forensic scientist in the DNA analysis unit.
How long have you worked there?
11 and a half years.
Could you please describe the work you do there?
Sure, I examine evidence for the presence of biological fluids such as blood, semen, and saliva, and then attempt to extract the DNA from those items. From there, I will make comparisons to standards from known individuals in the case.
And what's your educational background, please?
I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse in biochemistry and a master's degree from the University of Florida in forensic DNA and serology.
Do you have any training specific for your position at the Wisconsin State Crime Lab?
I do, yes.
Please describe that for the jury.
I underwent approximately a 1-year-long internal training program that included the screening techniques we use, presumptive and confirmatory tests for blood, semen, and saliva. From there, I learned the extraction techniques, quantitation, amplification, and typing methods that our lab uses. From there, I learned data interpretation as well as statistical analysis.
Did you do any casework while you were in training?
Mock cases.
Okay.
I completed two competency tests, 2 mock cases, a mock court, and then after completing those, I completed an extensive written exam as well as statistical tests.
Did you actually work with DNA samples, processing and analyze DNA samples during your training?
I did, yes.
About how many times?
About 175 samples.
Wow.
Is the Wisconsin State Crime Lab accredited?
Yes, it is.
What does that mean?
Our lab's accredited under the ISO 17025-2017. Essentially, it's just a voluntary program that any lab can enter to show that it meets established standards. They control our proficiency testing that's done twice a year.
Do you personally have any certification or accreditation personally?
No, just the lab accreditation.
Just the lab, okay. How many forensic DNA cases have you worked?
Just over 500.
Wow.
And about how many DNA samples have you processed?
Over 2,000.
Overruled, the witness may answer. I'm sorry, will you repeat your answer?
Rude.
Over 2,000.
Have you previously testified in court before?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled, the witness
Oh
may
my
answer.
gosh.
As a reminder, there may be objections. Please wait until I rule on those objections.
There will be
until you answer.
objections.
Go ahead, you may answer.
Objections.
Thank you. I'd like to ask you a little bit further about DNA analysis and how that works, okay?
Sure.
What is DNA? We hear a lot about it. What is it?
DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It's essentially the genetic blueprint that makes us what we are. It codes for us to have 2 legs, 2 arms, hair color, eye color, etc.
And where's DNA found in the human body?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
DNA is found in the nucleus of a cell.
Is it the same in every cell throughout the body?
In every cell that has a nucleus, yes, such as white blood cells and skin cells.
And is that important in your analysis?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, foundational, you may answer.
Yes, it is.
Why?
Objection, leading.
Oh, here we go.
Overruled. Go ahead.
It's important because we can take samples, evidentiary samples that may be from blood or saliva, and compare them with known standards, which are typically buccal swabs, which are swabs from the inside of the cheek, or dried blood standards in the case.
Does each individual have unique DNA?
Everybody except identical twins is unique.
Okay. Are you familiar with something known as STR analysis?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
Yes, I am.
What is STR analysis, please?
STR stands for short tandem repeat analysis. Over 99% of DNA is the same from person to person. So we're looking at that 1% that varies from individual to individual. Short tandem repeats are very small sequences of DNA that repeat over and over. So at one location, I may have 12 of these repeats, where another individual may have 14.
Is that distinction important?
Yes.
Why?
We can type standards from anybody associated with the case and make comparisons from the evidentiary profile to the standards to either include or exclude individuals.
All right. I'd like to direct your attention to Exhibit 91. Do you have that item in front of you, sir?
Yes, I do.
What is 91, please?
91 is my confidential report of laboratory findings dated April 29th, 2022.
And do you know if it relates to events occurring in the city of Waukesha on November 21 of 21?
Objection leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Were you given some items to process for DNA analysis?
I was, yes.
Were you given DNA standards to compare any profiles that you may develop from the evidence to known individuals in the case?
Yes, I was.
Do you remember who you got standards from?
I do.
Are you able to name them, or if you need to refer to your report, you may, but just let us know.
Okay. Can I read off the report?
You may read off your report. What page are you reading from, sir?
I will be reading page 2.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna find your
Go ahead.
stuff.
Objection.
Yeah, they're gonna find your
Overruled,
DNA
the
on
witness may
everything.
do so.
I received buccal swabs, so cheek swabs from Erica Patterson as well as Darrell Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
I received dried blood standards from Wilhelm Hospital, Tamara Durand, Jane Kulick, Leanna Owen,
All the
Virginia
victims.
Sorensen, and Jackson Sparks.
Oh, all
Is
the
there a
victims
difference
he ran
between
over and
those two,
killed.
the method in which they were submitted, the buccal swab versus the dried blood standard?
Objection leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
Yes,
Are you able to do the same thing with them?
I am, yes.
And what is that?
Just extracting the DNA off them to essentially put a profile to the individual.
Okay. And how do you use those profiles that you develop from the known standards?
We compare them to the evidentiary profiles that we develop.
All right. Now, you processed many items related to this case. Is that correct, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
Yes, I did.
I'm going to direct your attention to just a few select items for my purposes, okay? On page 7 of your report, Exhibit 91, you have reported on analysis you were able to perform on some swabs from the steering wheel of the vehicle in question. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct.
And the swabs were obtained by another member of the crime lab, is that right?
Objection speculative.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
That's correct.
How do they get to you?
They were collected by Analyst our chief now, Chris Johnson in Milwaukee, and they were mailed over to the Madison lab.
Okay. Were you able to develop any DNA profiles from the swabs of the steering wheel in this case?
Yes, I was.
What were your findings?
It was a 2-person mixture with at least 1 male.
Can you explain for the jury what that means, please?
We can look at a profile, and based on how many peaks there are at different locations, each person will have a maximum of 2. So if you have 3 peaks at a location, you know that you have more than 1 person there. And so in this case, we were able to say that it was a 2-person mixture.
Were you able to identify who those 2 people would
I
be?
bet we know.
Objection speculative.
Yeah, no.
Overruled, the
Think
witness
not.
may answer based upon training, experience, and investigation and analysis in this case.
Yes.
How did you do that, sir?
I ran it through this program called StarMix.
Is that a computer program?
Yes, it is.
What is that, please?
Objection leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
Getting closer to
StarMix
the
is a
truth.
mixture deconvolution software that we use. Previously, it was pretty difficult to distinguish different contributors in mixtures. And now we have the software that's actually a two-part program to do that.
How does it work?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yeah.
You may answer, sir.
The first part takes inputs by the analyst, such as number of contributors. So we'll look at the profile and determine that. But it also looks at the total amount of DNA amplified and essentially makes its own profile for comparison purposes. It will then compare it to the actual profile and determine if it's a good enough match. It will then generate another completely random profile, and if it's better and a better match, it will accept it. If it's not, it will deny it, and it will keep doing the accept over and over hundreds of thousands of times until it has a profile that is a very, very good match to the theoretical profile.
Safe to say a human being will be very challenged to do the same analysis.
It would take a very long time, yes.
Okay. And the software that you use, the STAR Mix or STR Mix, is that used in other labs around the country, sir?
Objection speculative. I don't know what's
Over-
used around the country.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Oh,
Yes,
shut
it
up.
is.
Is it a reliable method of performing DNA analysis, in your opinion, sir?
Yes, it is.
Has it been accepted in courts and other cases?
Objection speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, it has.
More than once?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
Good gosh.
Do you know about how many times STAR Mix has been used in Wisconsin courts?
Objection speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Since we brought it online in January of 2020, it's been accepted over 100 times in the state of Wisconsin.
Did you have to receive some specific training in how to utilize this software?
Yes, I did.
And did you complete the courses?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you use STAR Mix to analyze the DNA profile, this two-person mixture from the steering wheel of the Ford Escape?
Objection leading.
Overruled. Foundational. The witness may answer.
Yes, I did.
What conclusion did you draw?
Based on it being a two-person mixture, Erica Patterson and Darrell Brooks are both very strong support for inclusion. They're both greater, it's at least 1 quadrillion times more likely to observe the DNA profile if it's a mixture resulting from them plus an unknown over 2 unknowns.
So the odds of it being Mr. Brooks' DNA versus some other random person in the world are very, very rare, correct?
Objection leading, and I don't consent to being called that name.
The objection is noted. I'll sustain the objection as to the form of the question. Just ask that you rephrase.
Can you explain for us what you mean by very strong support for inclusion?
Yeah, we have a verbal qualifier based off of the validation that the company, the StarMix creators, as well as an internal validation have come up with. And the highest number we'll report is greater than 1 quadrillion. So this is higher than the number or we're reporting greater than 1 quadrillion, but the number is actually higher than that.
Okay. I'd like to move on then to the gear shift. Did you receive swabs from the gear shift of the red SUV?
Yes, I did.
Were you able to develop a DNA profile from the swab from the gear shift?
Yes, I was.
What did you find?
That was a 3-person mixture, also with at least 1 male.
I'm sorry, you trailed off at the end. A 3-person mixture, what?
With at least 1 male contributor.
Okay. Were you able to do any further analysis on that DNA profile?
I ran that through StarMix as well.
And what conclusion did you reach?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
The same as the steering wheel. So Erica Patterson and Darrell Brooks are both very strong support for inclusion.
Meaning that their DNA is on that gear shift.
Objection leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
Please again state in layman's terms for the jury what that means, sir.
Both Erica Patterson and Darrell Brooks, there's at least 1 quadrillion times more likely that it's the mixture of, it's at least 1 quadrillion times more likely to observe the DNA profile if it's a mixture from H1, meaning the person of interest, and 2 unknowns versus 3 unknowns.
The person of interest being Darrell Brooks.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name. You're just leading the witness.
Overruled,
Yeah.
but overruled, you may answer.
We run StarMix for the profile itself, and then each individual standard is run. So each person will have its own individual stat. So in this case, both Erica and Darrell are greater than 1 times 10 to the 15th, which is our 1 quadrillion.
All right, thank you. Sir, up on the table to your left, there's an item in a bag that's been marked as exhibit number 87. You see that? Yes, could you pull that down and take a look at that for me, please?
This is, to me,
Do you recognize exhibit number 87?
this is really interesting stuff here.
I do, yes.
And is that an item that you worked on?
Yes, it is.
Were you able to develop a DNA profile from exhibit 87?
Yes, I was.
What did you find?
That was a 2-person mixture with at least 1 male contributor.
And were you able to analyze that further using StarMix?
I was.
What conclusions did you reach?
Erica Patterson has very strong support for exclusion. Darrell Brooks has strong support for exclusion. Wilhelm Hospital has very strong support for inclusion. He is above that 1 quadrillion threshold that we have.
Okay.
Oh, so that was the victim, Darrell's victim.
And last, I'm not sure, Madam Clerk, if you still have the exhibit handy. If not, we can just talk about it. I'm looking for the sweatshirt that was item number 84. Exhibit 84? It is? Okay. Judge, would you please hand that to the witness?
Yes, the record reflects I'm handing exhibit number 84 to the witness.
Excuse me,
Go ahead.
guys.
Thank you.
What was the other exhibit number? Hat.
The hat is 87 and the sweatshirt is 84.
Sir, do you recognize item number 84, or exhibit number 84, I should say?
I do.
Is that an item that you processed?
Yes, it is.
Were you able to develop a DNA profile from exhibit 84?
Yes, I was.
What did you find?
I first looked at this. Typically, we'll swab, if we're trying to find the wearer of an item, areas that skin contacts. So on shirts, a lot of times we'll swab the back of the neck area or the cufflinks. So I swabbed both of those. There was a reddish-brown stain on the right sleeve that tested presumptive positive for blood. So I took that, a cutting of that. And then there were 5 hairs. There were more than 5 hairs, but I took 5 hairs that looked like they had roots on them for extraction.
Okay. And were you able to develop any DNA profiles from any of those swabbings or hairs?
Yes, I was.
Which? Let's start with swabs.
Okay. The swabbing of the collar of the sweatshirt was a 3-person mixture with at least 1 male.
How about the cuffs of the sweatshirt?
The cuffs were also a 3-person mixture with 1 male.
And how about the stain on the right cuff?
That was a 2-person mixture with at least 1 male.
Okay. Going back to the collar, the swab of the collar, did you use StarMix software to rule in or out the possibility of Mr. Brooks being included in that profile?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name. You're just leading the witness.
Noted, overruled, the witness may answer.
Yes, I did.
What was your finding?
Mr. Brooks has very strong support for inclusion. He's above that 1 quadrillion threshold.
Okay. How about the cuffs on the sweatshirts? What was your finding and ultimate conclusion as to Mr. Brooks' likelihood of DNA in that mix?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name. Leading the witness.
Noted, overruled, the witness may answer.
That three-person mixture with at least one male, same thing. Darrell Brooks was very strong support for inclusion, greater than 1 quadrillion times.
Mm-hmm.
And the last item you said was a stain on the right cuff of the sweatshirt?
Correct.
Did you reach any ultimate conclusion as it relates to that item?
That was a 2-person mixture with at least one male contributor.
Or what was your conclusion?
Both Erica Patterson and Darrell Brooks are very strong support for inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
You said that substance was a presumptive positive for blood?
Correct.
Objection, leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
That's correct.
All right, thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions at this time, but I would move Exhibit 91 into evidence, his report, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Oh, God.
Exhibit 91 is
Prepare yourselves.
Any reason to keep the exhibits for the witness?
Can I see that last exhibit? I'm thinking that
91?
was the 87 with the sweatshirt.
You want me to hold it up or?
Yeah. Is that 87?
That is 84.
84?
This hat that I'm holding up is 87. And then he has 91, which is his report. I'll keep that in front of him for now, or he can keep that in front of him for now. Go ahead when you're ready.
Oh, help us. Poor fellow.
These DNA analysis with star mix. I'm a little curious to get clarification on what does it mean when you say mixture? What exactly does that mean?
A mixture just means that it is more than one person present in the profile.
So by it being more than one person present in the profile, would it be fair to say that that would constitute it being more than one person?
Yes.
The gear shift had a 3-person mixture, so would that apply to the gear shift the same, that it would likelihood there's 3 different people's DNA on the gear shift?
That's correct.
And for the steering wheel, a 2-person mixture, so that would be 2 people for DNA for the steering wheel?
Correct.
Do you recall when you did this DNA analyzation rather? I'm sorry.
On any specific item, or all of them?
Do you recall when you did all the items, I guess?
So most of the items were collected in November. They were not transferred to the Madison lab until the end of January. So I started, I believe January 31st was the first day that I started analysis. And then my report was written April 29th.
So you started the analysis at the end of January,
Correct.
and you did your report in April. Why so long?
I generated 583 pages, and my report's 15 pages long, so that
Yeah.
takes a little bit of time.
That explains a lot.
So you broke down the 583 pages into 15.
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, do you know why it took from November to January for you to actually get the items that you were going to analyze for DNA?
Other than me picking up the case then, not really, no, I don't know.
Do you know where the items were kept prior to you receiving them?
Yes.
Can you state for the jury and for the record?
Our evidence technicians, when they came to the Madison lab, put them into storage where all evidence is stored.
Were the items sealed like they are now?
Yes.
And so I'm assuming you had to unseal them, get them out of the sealing packages to do the analyzation. Would that be fair to say?
That's correct, yes.
And did you yourself alone do the analyzation, or did you have other people that you worked with?
I did all of the DNA myself.
Did you repackage the items after you were done yourself?
Yes, I did.
And did you return them back to where you had received them from, or did you keep them at your, I think you said the Madison lab?
I'm based out of the Madison lab, yes. Typically, when we're done with evidence, we will return them to our evidence technicians, who will then put them back into storage. When the case is done, the evidence is then returned to the submitting agency.
So the items are still at your lab, is from your knowledge?
Now?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I asked that, let me give you some clarity. I asked that because you said at the completion of the case, they would be returned to the agency that you received them from. So I was kind of trying to get clarity on that. So do you know if they were returned to the agency you received them from already?
I believe they were.
So it'd be fair to say in this situation, the items weren't continued to be stored at the Madison lab.
That's correct.
Oh my God. I feel like he's been way over his head like he was with a very intelligent gentleman, you know, the Sir Isaac
One of your
Newton thing.
analysis had a 4-person mixture. Were you able to determine out of the 8 DNAs that you ran
Oh dear.
if any of those DNAs were found on that specific item?
Your Honor, I object that it's vague. I'm not sure which item he's referring to.
I'm referring to, it says brim of maroon winter style hat.
What page are you on, please, sir?
6.
All right, so you want directing the witness to page 6?
Yes.
That particular item?
Yes, that's where I'm reading from, yes.
Okay.
They're helping him. Don't help him.
Did you ask the question?
Yeah, I said this one in particular, the one I'm referring to, has a 4-person mixture. Did your analysis identify any one of those 4 people out of the 8 DNA samples that you were analyzing?
No, it did not.
I mean, I wouldn't know what to ask, is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say it's just him, but it's like, quit it. What are you doing to save your case? To save yourself from going to the prison with Bubba? Wasting time, that's all.
Would it be fair to say for pretty much all the items that you did analysis on, there were at minimum 2 or 3 person mixtures?
No.
Nice try. And so what does it matter at this point? What does this matter?
Why would you say that?
Typically in our reports, we lump the star mix samples together. If you look before that, it will have items that were single source profiles.
That's why I said the majority or if not all. I didn't say every single one.
You're not smart.
I wouldn't say the majority, no.
Stop, Brooke. Stop now. That guy is... Look at his face. He's like, I can't believe I'm dealing with this fool. Don't act like
He
you...
looks that way.
Wow, what? Are you trying to say you don't... You're challenging what this young fellow who knows what he's talking about is saying? He's so arrogant. And embarrassingly stupid. Oh my God.
Is it autosomal? How do you say that word? I'm sorry.
Autosomal.
Autosomal. STR DNA results and conclusions. That starts on page 5. Would that be fair to say?
That's correct, yes.
Guys, I can't. Oh my gosh.
And ends on page 13. Would that be fair to say?
That's correct, yes.
Wow, good for you, Brooks. Yay. How does that help your case? How does that help your case? Can anyone tell me, how does this help his case? He's just wasting time. Pretending he knows.
Would it be fair to say that page 13,
Oh my God. Help us.
12, 11, 10,
Oh my gosh.
9, 8, 7, and 6. Out of all those pages, only 3 have single source, and all the rest of them have at least 2 or 3 mixtures. Would that be fair to say?
Mixtures.
No.
And can you point out where the inaccuracy may be?
Sure.
Stop.
In case I'm not being accurate.
No, you're not being
on page
accurate.
6,
Stop.
the first profile that you're looking at, cuttings of the apparent hair.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt. He's got to stop while he's behind. And then he wants him to explain why it is accurate. Oh my God. Do you think at some point he's going to ask if any of the DNA samples belong to the plaintiff? Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go.
From the gas tank strap. That's a single source profile.
That's one.
The next line, the cutting of the unlit end of the blunt is 1.
2.
Cuttings of the apparent roots from the hairs, which is CC4, CC5, and CC8. So that's 3 items right there.
So you're looking at the actual heading.
That's correct.
And is that it from
On that page, yes.
any other pages?
Oh my God, stop.
Directions, forward or backwards?
I don't consent to being called that name. We're going from page 6.
Are you asking single source profiles?
To page 7. From page 7, do you see any single
Oh my
source?
gosh.
Or yes, I guess it would be called single source.
No. From page 6 to 13, as you previously stated, those are my star
No.
mix ones. So each one of those is going to be a mixture profile.
So the majority of them have mixture of persons.
From those pages, yes. But there are many single source profiles before the star mix conclusions.
Can anyone object to this line of questioning? Come on. He really has no sense of his surroundings or the time. Doesn't care because he's a narcissist. Oh my gosh.
Do you recall who you turned your report over to once you finished your report?
For technical review?
I'm sorry, can you repeat
For
that?
technical review?
I'm referring to when you had finished your written report. Do you recall who you turned that over to?
Yes.
You stated for the jury and for the record.
Kelly Gajewski was my tech reviewer.
Could you spell that last name for the record?
It's Gajewski, Gajewski.
Thank you.
Did you write that down, Brooks?
And do you know what happened to the written report from that point?
After she reviews it, sent it back for edits, and then I fixed those. It was approved by her. Then it goes to a supervisor for an administrative review.
Fix the edits. What do you mean by fix the edits?
Oh,
If there's any typos or anything like that, it'll come back. Or if I forgot to initial a page or something like that, I'll fix those.
That's
and
what
then
editing is, Brooks.
send it back to her for approval.
Working with law enforcement, which you've stated you've done numerous times. And in regards to written reports,
Oh God. Don't ask
to
about,
your knowledge,
please don't ask about a creative writing class.
are you aware of officers taking a creative writing course?
Oh my God, he
Objection
asked
relevant.
Grounds.
about the creative writing course.
Sustained.
Oh. Oh my God. I really didn't think. Look at them. Look at her. Look at Basie. And wait a minute, let me move this a little. Okay, look at the detective is like, what the heck? And it looks like Opper is going to bust a gut. Because I was like, surely he's not going to say creative writing. Oh my Lord. Oh, guys, I'm kind of enjoying this. I mean, it just shows what do you think the jury is thinking with him wasting? And remember now, let me just remind us about how he didn't, he was all, his panties were in a wad because it might run past 6. Well, it's not because of anyone else but him. And that young fellow sitting there now, I've already forgotten his name, poor guy, but he's just like, well, and I don't blame him, sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay. That is such a stupid question, but it's entertaining me, so let's continue. Sorry, guys. You're supposed to be saving your life, man. And you're pulling this kind of nonsense?
Have you yourself ever taken a creative writing course?
Stop.
Relevance. Sustained.
Stop.
Not relevant. Next question.
I'm thinking he would probably, well, my major's in
Have
creative
you or
writing.
anyone you know filed a complaint in this matter?
No.
Would you consider yourself an injured party in this matter?
No.
Oh, God. Holy Hannah.
Ever directly talk to the plaintiff in this matter?
Don't know how I would talk to the state of Wisconsin.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
I do not
Who loves
know
it?
how I would talk
This
to the
is-
state of Wisconsin. It's an entity, not a
Not a person, right?
Right. Ooh, is that what he was waiting for all this time? I'm saying it's your chance to ask to see have the plaintiff's DNA sample. Quit looking at those stupid papers and just shut this down. Can you shut this down?
No further questions?
Thank you. Any redirect?
Yes. Sir, on page 6 of your report,
Get
you
him,
were
Upper.
identifying for the defendant some of the single source profiles that you developed. Do you recall that?
yes.
And one of the items you described as items CC4A, CC5A, and CC8A. Do you see that?
Objection leading.
Yeah, shut up. You
Overruled. The
guys.
witness may answer.
You had your chance to ask
Yes,
your
I-
stupid
What
question.
do those items represent?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Those are cuttings of the apparent root ends of the hairs that I took off the sweatshirt.
Forgot to ask you about the hairs.
Objection leading.
Did you? I'm sorry, that was a statement. I'll move on, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You told Mr. Brooks on cross that you developed a single source profile for those hairs. Is that right?
Objection. I
Don't
consent
go
to
with
be
that
called
name.
an
Oh, shut up.
It's leading the witness.
The objections are noted. Overruled. The witness may answer.
That's correct.
Who was the source of those hairs on that sweatshirt? States exhibit number 84.
Objection. Speculative.
No, it's not.
Overruled. Go ahead and answer.
Darrell Brooks is the source.
Thank you. Nothing else.
Thank
Opper,
you, sir. You may sit down.
that is so sweet. Thank you, Opper. That was beautiful. You know what? Brooks doesn't even.
As much as I would love to have another witness, we're going to break for the night because it is 5:49. So, with that, I will give the.
Look at him. Okay, wait a minute. He's sitting there going like, do, because he really, just because the guy said, I guarantee after all of those stupid questions, just because the guy said the plaintiff was an entity, he is so proud. That's his gotcha moment. And he I'm sure he believes that the jury is impressed. Oh my God. That's just freaking nuts. Okay, here we go.
Every night to the jurors. So please listen. Do not begin your deliberations and discussion of the case until all the evidence is presented and I am instructed.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the reading part of to the jury, But I'm going to skip over and see if he has any smart-ass words to say. But maybe not, but just in case. I may end up editing this part out. But I noticed that now he's got everything all straightened and his Bible's in front of him. And it looks like he's kind of checking out himself, saying, ooh, what a handsome devil I am. I don't know why, though. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. I'll edit it out, though, if there's nothing.
If anyone does so despite your telling them not to, you should report that to me.
He is.
I appreciate that it is tempting.
Look at him. He's checking his hairline. Oh, my God. This is sweet. Look at him checking out that hairline. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Okay.
When you go home in the evening to discuss this case with another member of your household, but you may not do so. This case.
Sorry, gotta stop you. Look, now he's like furrowing his brows. Oh my God, that is so freaking funny. Okay, let's keep watching.
Must be decided by you, the jurors, based on the evidence presented in the courtroom. People not serving on this jury have not heard the evidence, and it is improper for them to influence your deliberations and decision in this case. After the trial is completed, you are free to discuss this case and communicate with anyone in any manner. These rules are intended to assure that jurors remain impartial throughout the trial. If any juror has reason to believe that another juror has violated these rules, you should report that to me. If jurors do not comply with these rules, it could result in a new trial involving additional time and significant expense to the parties and the taxpayers. You are to decide the case solely on the evidence offered and received at trial. With that, you are excused for the evening. I'll briefly discuss scheduling with the parties and then let Michael and Jen know when to report tomorrow. Thank you. All rise for the jurors, please.
Boy, it was worth going back for that, wasn't it? I hope it was for you all. Oh no, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yes, we good? Oh, there's the door. Thank you, be seated. Just briefly as to scheduling tomorrow, since we had a late evening, how about we start at 9 a.m. tomorrow? Any objection from the state?
No.
From Mr. Brooks? No. All right, 9 a.m. tomorrow. For scheduling purposes, I'll take up, obviously, tomorrow morning, whether the state can recall Detective Casey. That would be your last witness.
Yes.
All right, then, sir, you have the option, should you choose, of an opening statement. So you should be prepared for that. And then to call witnesses, I believe you've worked with Attorney Opper. Do you need to provide her with anything regarding that tomorrow?
Oh God, you're gonna make this, don't make this a thing, Darrell.
All right, anything else from the state?
No.
Any-
I don't have anything at this time, Your Honor. If you excuse us, then I'll make sure I get that paperwork from Mr. Brooks or the defendant, and we'll be ready to go.
All right, anything else from you, sir?
Oh, yeah, we're starting at 8:30, right? Or are we starting at 9 as well?
We're starting at 9.
Okay, then Ms. Basie corrected me because we have to discuss Attorney Casey's testimony, but we also anticipate we'll have a motion in the morning, or I can tell you what it is right now, but I know that
Well,
we're
we can
staying
then,
late.
I mean, if you think it's gonna take some time, then I'll have the jurors come at 9, but I wanna be mindful, Mr. Brooks, we all had a long day. I'll do 8:45, and I'm not gonna do any earlier than that.
I think
What will
that's
the
fair,
motion
Your
be?
Honor. It's a motion to conform the information to fit the evidence.
Oh, all right, I'll take
What
that
is
up.
that?
We'll
Ooh.
have it in writing for Mr. Brooks in the morning, Your Honor.
Okay, that'll be
Yeah,
great.
that means you have to read it.
Anything else from you, sir?
No,
Oh Lord.
I redid the, it's not the exact order that I'm gonna call the witnesses, but it's pretty much
Who you want, like each time block, morning or afternoon?
exactly.
you'll be ready to
It's
go
just not
tomorrow.
in exact order like I'm gonna call this person,
I'm
this
not gonna hold you
person.
to that, as long as it's by time blocks, if you wanna call it that, but be ready to
Well,
call
I did
witnesses.
it just so I can stay for the record, so it'll be easy to follow. I did the names by threes. I'm guessing the first three would be the morning, the next three would be the evening, and then Friday, 3 morning, and then 3 evening. Is that fair?
I think so.
Yes, we may be able to move faster, but we will attempt to stay in contact with witnesses if we can, bring somebody here sooner, if the court's got time, we'll do that, but that's very reasonable.
And then do you have any idea how long you anticipate your opening will be?
Opening statement?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
I don't think it's any way to gauge how long it would be.
Just be mindful, sir, it's not the time to make
Gracie's
argument
gonna
opening
laugh again.
statements, as I like to call them, and what the jury instruction references, it's the roadmap. So I will expect to hear a lot of the evidence will show, the testimony, things of that nature. If it turns into argument, that's what happens at the close of the case.
What do you mean by argument?
If you're trying to argue the evidence and what it means,
No, I'm not trying to argue.
but this will be what,
Yeah,
basically
sure.
to lay out
Okay.
what the defense, what I would expect is for you to lay out what the defense or defenses that you believe you'll be presenting evidence about will be. To kind of, again, give the jury a roadmap, an idea of what to expect as your witnesses come forward. And then at some point, I don't know whether you will make a decision to testify or not, but we do have to have a conversation on the record about that. So if you could just give me an idea, if you are going to testify yourself, if you think that would be at the beginning or at the end, so I can gauge when to have that conversation with you.
I don't know for sure yet at this point.
Fair enough. So at some point I'll have that conversation with you though. All right, we'll see everyone at 8:45 tomorrow. Thank you everyone, they're in recess.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Does have any questions, Kenny?
All right, that's a wrap. Okay, so I don't know. It was kind of like at times I was like, oh, just get on with it. But then I believe he provided us with some entertaining moments. The creative writing class, dumb. But then I think the most hilarious part was him checking out his face and his hairline. That was worth something. Okay, well, I hope you all enjoyed this. We'll probably just continue on because it just kind of gets, he's just going to escalate his anger with this whole Detective Casey thing. And this, probably most of us have seen it, but I know there are many parts I've forgotten. So we'll go with that. And hope you all are doing well. Probably said that at the beginning. And thank you so much for watching, for commenting. Be kind to one another. Be kind to you. And I'll see you the next time.